and pass the floor to Dmitro. Many thanks.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. So good afternoon once again to everyone. Now we are approaching actually our last session for today, in which we will try to explore the issue of the eco initiatives of the Eastern Partnership member states. And actually we will go in depth, I mean, with the understanding of the importance of the strengthening the network of environmental activists. Why do we need actually these initiatives, and why collaboration between our countries of the Eastern Partnership is important in order to be more progressive, more efficient, let's say, and more effective in our results. Yesterday we had a pretty similar session on the youth engagement and youth participation. Some of you were participating. Yes, so today will be actually the similar format. We will be having 15 minutes, more or less, for one speaker who will be introducing her or his initiative, and simultaneously will be able to ask questions. I mean, in case any questions will pop up in the meantime. And I am pleased to introduce the first speaker for today's session. That is Giorgi. He has been with us also yesterday, was presenting his proactive group of Georgia. And I assume he will be having also for today to deliver us some important insights on the already eco activism and how they do run their business, let's say, within Georgian framework and not only also within the international scale. So, Giorgi, please take your time.
Good afternoon, and yeah, this actually yesterday was very nice and interesting discussions about youth participation and some best practices, and kind of really very much interactive. So I'm sure that today we will continue this high level of interaction, even like it's better. So less people, we have more time for sharing good things amongst each others. So thing is, today I would love also to share more about this eco-activism and eco topics. As Dimitro was mentioning about Proactive Group Georgia, which is working in different dimensions. One is about mostly basically about intercultural dialogue, Georgian relationships, youth participation, entrepreneurship, and so on. But one of the recently our actively comes, it's about eco things. And for example, like last month, we organized a project that was about eco-entrepreneurship and about reducing, reusing, and recycling different these concepts, which was promoting among local communities with support of Erasmus Plus program on international level. But so from this perspective, yes, we organize different things about eco-activism, but let's make it more let's say useful presentation, so I can share some presentation like yesterday I did. So one moment. This, so I can share this presentation. So probably you see now my presentation about Green Europe ambassadors. So how we get more or less getting to know much better with Arthur. And later we also had opportunity also in some activities also to engage together. So one of the ideas actually after several years of participating in different projects, and ambassador becomes like a trendy nowadays, we came up with the ideas that this coming new Green Deal. So as you see, this like a youth for better environment. So what is the Green Europe Ambassador? Designed by a group of young people passionate about nature, environmental protection, climate changes, and actually a former already young European ambassador. And from Latvia, we had also my colleague, Angelica Maria Zhuba. And later with the EU and Eastern Partnership countries expects to join this initiative and to develop. So now it's kind of, I would say, the new baby initiative, so, which doesn't have much experience, but we already had organized some activities, to organize some online panel discussions, or like organizing some online activism in order to raise awareness about different eco issues, and especially about European Green Deal. So one of the idea was how it came up, because we know yesterday we discussed also about EU neighborhoods and different projects. and young European ambassadors. So as the communication projects, it's really one of the key aspects. They can be done a lot, especially using these different online, digital or offline tools to support young people's participation and to raise awareness about global issues. And one of such global issues is about environmental issues, let's say, sustainable development goals and so on, and the new European Green Deal strategy approved so by 2050. And how to raise, yes, and it's very big document with nicely written with all details and stuff, but mostly what is lacking, because as a result, we see from most of the very good campaigns or most of the very good projects on draft policy papers, whatever is missing, it's about delivering this message to the proper way to the young people, and not only to the young people, but to the society. Because, okay, European Green Deal is a good, we all know, but how we can benefit from this, yes? And from this perspective, we need to more and more and to explain to the society to be more eco-friendly, yeah, in this regard. So one of the main drivers of this kind of campaigns are the young people. So what's the young people life? It's activism. So how can we make them active? It's about bringing some tools and giving some opportunities for the young people, which can actually bring them together to share common values, at the same time unite by some common purpose. So that's how we end up to create such kind of initiative and network, which is just like not very much big, but we hope that after this meeting also, if anyone would be interested to joining this initiative or how can be joined, I can express it later on also. So just to promote more about eco-activism and this thing. So mostly it was about first fostering participants to become more eco-friendly and contribute to the climate change in our communities, because in Eastern Partnership is one of the biggest issues about this pollution and other parts. So to provide space for creativity as well and critical thinking, especially during this pandemic days, there can be done a lot with digital tools, and establishing this network, because power of, especially nowadays, during this pandemic in 2020 showed us how much big power this international solidarity and networks can have in international cooperation, yeah, because it's always good because we have some good results, for example, in Georgia, and like other EU countries have good, Ukraine has different approach. So when we share, so we better understand, and our horizons of thinkings out of the box can be widened. And this is one of the key aspects, yes, why it's international projects is great, because sorry, because of aspects of the widen our horizons of thinking, and we get to know different perspectives about ideas. So different, we can develop later different tool sets for strategies for online, offline activities, and so on. So what does it give? This network, it connects EU and Eastern Partnership leaders and multipliers, because can be like a very wide understanding of this network can be part of the young people passionate about over 16, 17. At the same time, can be like people is interested or working in this regards. Yes, already has experience, because the different levels and pillars. One and first one is about mostly connecting. So one is this, so to have these connections, and today we know the social capital is one of the strongest one and one of the essential skill, let's say, resource for the success, and to make good things happening around you. Empower by, let's say, empower young people to raise their awareness, let's say empower by different skills and tool sets, and develop their capacities. Supporting career success, who is interested in to develop more about eco-entrepreneurship or like international, let's say, relations, more or less eco-environmental issues, who wants to develop the career in this regard. In general, to raise the awareness about European Green Deal strategy 2050, and to have closer understanding and cooperation with the EU institutions regarding that, and not only locally, like because we have, for example, different projects which is supported by the European Union in Georgia, and probably more or less you also know have the similar situation also in your countries, in the partnership of EU countries and with Brussels. So as we strongly believe that Yes, Arthur?
Yeah, just if you're already finishing, I wanted to ask like two short
So
questions.
just to summarize, for 1 minute. So as we strongly believe that sharing is caring, and with this shared experience and with caring about nature, we make this good impact and influence for not only about the young people is empowering them, but also about creating the better environment for living, better and healthier, greener environment. So that was all. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will share also the Facebook link. So group here, you can find more about Green Europe ambassadors, and also in the agenda there is, you can also reach me directly if you have some questions regarding that.
This is very nice. I just wanted to ask, as far as I remember, you have like you have built already a nice network, because the last time we've been at the event, there was also some organization from Latvia. So how many already like ambassadors do you have?
So I would say the ambassadors, but more or less we are now, let's kind of around almost 10. So more or less who are trying to active. It's like a, so far we have like a Georgia and Latvia, as I was mentioning, but there is a lot of room and opportunity space for the other countries if they would love to join, and because just due to these hard times of the busy times of the deadlines and of projects and stuff. So we are thinking this to make it more active and more proactive, let's say, approach to use in order to make this Green Europe ambassadors work, because I see this is more and more needs now, and I'm sure that later we will also make some calls for to become, how to become young European ambassador, and how to reach, how to find more information about Green Europe ambassadors. I will share you Facebook group link in chat, in Zoom chat. So if someone, they can write here, or they can just directly approach me on Facebook also.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from our audience?
Sorry, not this one. 1 moment. So it's not the link, just 1 moment, but this is the right link.
Okay, thanks.
If there are no questions, we can proceed with another honorable speaker. And yes, I would pass the floor to the Youth Advisor on Climate Change, to the Secretary General at United Nations, to Vladislav Kaim. So please, yeah, take your time. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dmitro. Thank you, Artur, and thanks to the colleagues from Drukarnia for the invitation. It is finally nice, albeit online, to speak at the Ukrainian soil, especially considering how much representing the voices of youth from the Eastern Partnership is important in my mandate. I'm extremely thankful for your invitation. Unlike Giorgi, I do not have any slides with me, but I also hope that we'll be able to restructure our discussion in a way that after I provide my intervention, we will also be able to have some back and forth, like a little bit of Q&A. I will focus in my short intervention particularly on the two matters. First is to, in general, talk about my work and what the UN Secretary General's Youth Advisory Group on Climate Change is doing overall. And secondly, it's about the context of our coming work, and particularly the conference COP26 that is going to happen in Glasgow, and what it means for us. And in some sense, particularly for Donbas region as well. So to start it up, I was together with 6 colleagues of mine, appointed by the UN Secretary General to be leading the proceedings in the first ever of his Youth Advisory Group on Climate, and that happened in the late July 2020. Our mandate lasts 2 years and is particularly focused on ensuring that Secretary General's climate strategy is being implemented, and is having this particular critical action-oriented youth-represented lens. Moreover, I don't know how many of you have watched the Secretary General's speech 2 days ago at the beginning of the UN General Assembly general debate. He also mentioned that due to the efforts that were undertaken in the sphere of bringing more youth voices, not just into the climate policy world, but also in general into political and societal life of many countries, including EaP countries post-pandemic, the whole way the UN interacts with youth will be changed. There will be a whole new agency created, the UN Youth, and there will be appointed a special envoy for future generations. And there will be a future generations summit held at the UN in 2023. So there is a lot happening on the youth and climate front. My particular mandate is focused on the issues related to green jobs and just transition, which as an Eastern European, I hold pretty dear to my heart, especially considering that I am very well aware of the fact that through my voice, I am expected also to represent the opinions of regions, particularly those like Donbass, where we see that the just transition is the transition. You cannot transition otherwise into a green economy if you want this region to survive and to offer people the dignity of work, the opportunity to work where they are. Of course, we cannot discount the war as a factor here too, but trust me, war or no war, green transition is one of those points where a lot is at stake in your region. Apart from that, I'm also focusing on the issues related to climate finance. As you may well know, in the Paris Agreement from 2020, there was put a goal that countries who are most vulnerable to the effects of climate change will be receiving from developed countries $100 billion in climate finance each year. Well, first year coming, and it's already a failure so far, but there are some encouraging trends now, particularly Joe Biden at the UN General Assembly pledged that the US will again double their climate finance contribution as per Paris Agreement. And I think, and what I'm focusing my work right now, is to show that countries of the Eastern Partnership, Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus, with all the complications that are there now, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, they are also extremely worthy recipients of international attention in the climate finance area because we have a lot of challenges to grapple with. It was just 2 years ago when Ukraine has experienced a devastating floods in the Dniester River basin. And by that time, the UNEP executive director, Inger Andersen, she specifically told that that happened due to man-made change in the microclimate, particularly through illegal deforestation. Moldova, we are leading the indicators of vulnerability to climate change in basically all international measurements when it comes to Europe. In the IPCC report, if you have seen it, there is a lot of emphasis putting on the increased flood risk, particularly fluvial floods in our region. So there is a lot of work, and my work is particularly aiming to uplift our regional profile, to demonstrate our regional perspective, and to show to many public, in those there in the public, but also in decision makers circles around the world, that when we talk about the most vulnerable and the most affected areas and territories and countries when it comes to climate change, of course, it is important to place the emphasis on what is happening in countries of global south, but nothing is monolithic or safe in Europe, as we have seen particularly even just this summer with the floods in Germany. But imagine that incidents like this happen more often than not in actually in our part of the continent. Not in the West. And we also economically are way less prepared than our colleagues in the West. Hence, we are extremely hard working right now on ensuring that at COP26, we also bring this perspective there. But now coming to the issue of the conference COP26, so we can amplified even more by yesterday's global climate strike that was organized by Fridays for Future, is not really seen in the actions of our regional governments. And for example, since we are virtually in Ukraine, a carbon tracker recently looked at all the recently submitted NDCs nationally determined contributions to the Paris Agreement. And Ukrainian national determined contribution was classified as highly insufficient in order to achieve the scenario of global warming that will not exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial year, which is unfortunate. It's a known goal. Of course, there are a lot of political, economic problems with actually treading a 1.5 degree compatible path in the Ukrainian industrial context. But also at the same time, this is a factor that is hampering your future competitiveness. It is a factor that is hampering better job prospects for our generation. And this is something we should really press forward. And this is why when I talk about climate finance, I put specific attention to this point, because we are not able to finance such a transition on our own. We are not able to finance adaptation to what is already to come on our own. And this is where I only laterally saw the presentation was made by Giorgi, but there was a big focus on European Green Deal. And we need to remember that the European Green Deal, as it's formulated legislatively, aims to contribute to a carbon neutral continent, not the EU, by 2050. And so when it comes to climate finance, EU will be the most important player in our space. And it falls on us to show an ambitious vision for our green transition, including through the way we present ourselves at COP. And then we can have an increasing bargaining space with our colleagues in the EU to show them that the countries of the Eastern Partnership, when it comes to a green transition, they indeed mean business. Leaders Summit at COP, which is opening, in fact, the conference in the first 3 days will be crucial in that. And I hope that we will see all heads of state from our region there, because this will be the venue, this will be the time when many things important for the implementation of international measures to avoid the most catastrophic consequences of global warming will be finally hashed out. Because lest we forget, Paris Agreement is not yet a fully finished instrument. So it's extremely important that President Sandu, President Zelensky, leaders of Georgia, leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan will be present there. And to make sure that we are indeed together with our European colleagues, together with other vulnerable countries, that we are in the agenda and we make it through. And the role of youth here to push the needle is absolutely vital. So with that, I think I can stop here for now, and looking forward to some questions if there are any.
Yes, many thanks. I wanted to also make some comments regarding like the transition and decarbonization of economy, because given that we have like approximately 65% of electricity comes from the nuclear power plants and 30% from like coal mining. And since recently, we actually had a visit from the special representative from GIZ, Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit, about the transitioning of the coal mining regions, Stanislav Tillach from Germany. And he has made a point that in order to, of Ukraine does not make any mistakes, it will take approximately like a couple of decades. And maybe because you basically focus as part of your mandate and maybe your personal interest on the just transition, maybe you can already tell about some positive cases or any good examples of how a region, maybe with not a perfect economy, can be just transitioned. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, Ukraine does not really need to look that far. We can look at Poland, a country where the dependence on coal is even worse in the energy mix compared to Ukraine. And there is not only the regular lignite coal that they use in their energy mix quite a lot, almost a half of their energy mix, but also the gray coal, which is even more toxic than that. And we see that a combination of international measures, like, for example, the functioning of the EU emissions trading scheme, together with the new creations in this new budget cycle for the EU, like the Just Transition Fund, and a focus on sort of local distributions the proceeds from it, plus work together between the Polish government and the coal mining unions led ultimately to a roadmap on dropping coal by 2040. So, of course, the devil is in the details and in how it will be implemented, but Poland has been already on the road to diversification before, because in our region, when it comes to green transition is also not just a matter of economic and ecological imperative, but it's also an imperative for national security too. We cannot really disentangle from there. So, and with Ukraine, certain elements of it will be applicable too. Unfortunately, countries of the EaP will not have that access to the Just Transition Fund like the countries of the EU. The negotiations that were between heads of states in the European Council in July 2020 ultimately led to annulment of the possibility for the EaP countries to participate in it, at least so far. And for Ukrainian case, I think that we are looking forward to a situation where we will first and foremost see how the already existing strong points within Ukrainian mix can be leveraged. Like, for example, if we look at again, back to the Donbass, there is a lot of great infrastructure in terms of linking connectors and the conductors of conventional energy sources to industrial plants which are located near ports, like for example in the case of Mariupol. And there will be quite a convincing case, if there are no rule of law problems, of course, related to that, to develop quite a good hydrogen industry. There will be a lot of demand in green and blue hydrogen in the EU in the upcoming 10-20 years at least, and Ukraine can position itself very well there. And we will see, of course, in practicality, how they will be able to seize the proceeds that will come after the deal that was related to the Nord Stream 2, because those funds essentially will serve as a Kickstarter of sorts, together with the investment that Siemens is about to make in Mariupol as well for the hydrogen industry in Ukraine overall. With nuclear, it might be trickier, and even small modular reactors that are coming up in general, the international market still don't quite solve the issue of disposal of nuclear waste, and considering toxic, both in direct and figurative sense of the legacy of this issue in Ukraine, that will be an issue that will reverberate itself for more decades to come. And there will be a need for a more public discussion on that.
I even heard some jokes regarding like the air pollution in Mariupol. So it's would be way more cheaper to have all the streets in gold than to put some, I don't know, air conditioning and filter and stuff to the factories. And being a bit more specific about the Donetsk region, like mostly all of the mines at the non-government-controlled territories are already flooded, and they are connected with the Seversky Donetsk River, which is already becoming a network, and yeah, the conflict, the ecological catastrophe has no borders, and yeah, we need to
absolutely
urgent actions regarding this. Many thanks.
Thank you.
Any other reflections, comments? If nobody else, then I would say thanks once again to Vladislav for his insights, yes, and the scope of the work they're carrying out on the regular basis in order to work on our common future, let's say. And I would pass the floor to Anastasia, to the media project Ecorubric representative. So yes, floor is yours, and take your time.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for this event. Thanks for the networking. I'm sure that there will be a lot of new partnership collaborations, and we will be helpful for each other. I will talk from the media approach because I am the founder and I'm journalist, and I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of all Ukrainian online media outlet Rubrica. we are the first media in Ukraine that works in the approach of solution journalism. Maybe you have heard about constructive journalism, about this philosophy of media work, that we should talk not only about the problems but also about solutions. And I would like to present one of our key projects dedicated to environmental issues, Ecorubrica. And first of all, you have heard already the presentation yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday from the Yevgen Kamenshik from Moldova. And we described, that's interesting that we described his experience in reforming water supply system in Taraklia, in Moldova, in a town in Moldova, and this piece of content was awarded by the one of the respected journalistic award in Ukraine, the Honor of Profession. And the main thing that it helped Drukarnia, helped strong local activists to launch their own project dedicated to analysis and making strategies for local water supply system in Sloviansk. So there is about media is crucially important also for civic initiatives, for impact and for making success stories in communities. So let me demonstrate. I'm a co-host now. Just a second. I just want to show you the website and our social web links. Maybe just 1 second. There is our website for Rubrica, and we have 3 language version: Ukrainian, Russian, and English. And Ecorubrica was launched 2 years ago. We felt the demand of audience when we posted some news, with environmental component. We saw the popularity, and we announced we wanted to gain money from our readers, to funds from our readers to make some stories about environmental issues, and we were succeeding in it. And then we also found support from International Center for Journalists, and launch a separate project, Ecorubrica. So the first lesson was that separating of topics works, because it was quite it found its auditory, because it's more than 40,000 followers. First year we focused on production of documentaries dedicated different environmental problems in Ukraine, about mining, about amber, about pollution in Mariupol, also about saving local lakes and rivers. By the way, some of them has English subtitles, so you can also. So the second year, we realized that we want to experiment, and we want to talk not but also about solutions. And I'm sure that environmental topics is the best sphere to test and to do it. So we gain our different stories about change makers in the communities. For example, this these different communities, for example, how just a second, how can you sort of garbage, how the whole market start composting, or how a local community decide to transform garbage in PAU, in тротуарная плитка, in something useful for the town. Yeah, and I want to say a few words about what solution journalism is, because I am sure that we can collaborate, and we can also be a platform for your cases, for your stories, and it would be easier if you can pitch your story in the approach of solution journalism. So that is about, for example, I just want to show the example of such articles: drones against grass burners, how to fight dead and down arson in Zakarpattia. So in Ukraine, there is a huge problem with burning dry grass and fallen leaves, and there is huge scale problem in towns, in villages, and even we had a big fire forest even in Chernobyl last year. Even in Ukraine, rules become laws and responsibilities become stricter, but nothing can stop some people who are continuing in burning dry grass and other stuff. But we found the story how activists in the west of Ukraine launched their own project due to drones. They decided to control their region. Yes, that's interesting. But also, we as a journalists should cover not only the main idea is to cover the story, not as like success story, but how instruction, yeah, how to think, and being not only watchdog for our auditory, for our readers, but be also guide dog, and be useful for our readers. Yeah, and that is why we should cover not only how to component, but also component of limitations, of restrictions, of some practices. That is why we cover for example, this project will be launched due to grant support, and the limitation is also that they can't fix the drones and to gain the data over the house yards, yeah, because it is illegal. That is limitation, yeah. But there is also proof of efficiency of this practice, because there is a lot of violators that they caught due to drones. So I am convinced that let me give some friendly advice that we are very welcome to collaborate, but just ask to learn the style of online media outlet in which with which you want to collaborate. For example, we wrote in the solution journalism approach. Someone else wrote in, for example, is journalism of that data journalism or investigative journalism. So you can pitch your story, but yeah, just also be helpful for us, and we are ready to create a creative story about your experience. We yeah, I returned. We have packed our content in different formats, like not only documentaries or caption videos, but also visual component, infographics, and I think that it is also important thing for boosting your content, for boosting your topic. And I don't be wonder why we broadcast in Russian, because we want to gain a bigger audience, not only in Ukraine. That is why, but all our we are trying to translate our audience also, our articles also in Ukrainian and partly in English. Hopefully I will leave my contacts and email of our team. Don't hesitate to write for us, and hopefully we can be your informational partner, and we will be glad to cover your maybe turn your topic into news occasion, and we will be glad to cover it to be helpful. Thank you.
Many thanks. I really actually recommend to check the webpage of the Rubric and Ecorubric. They post very insightful, interesting, like positive cases and like key examples of how you can act locally. And yeah, feel free to at least click the link in the agenda that you have, and they already linked to the most usable Facebook profiles. And yeah, keep on doing the great job. Many thanks.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Anastasia, once again. It was it was pretty useful, even for me also, to discover different aspects from the different regions, and also the scale of your activities. On that occasion, we may be passing to the next speaker, to the Katarina Davydkova, who is the coordinator of the Eco Direction in Social Democratic Platform. And yeah, she will also deliver some useful and interesting insights. And yes, Katarina, the floor is yours.
Good day, everybody. My name is Katarina Davydkova. Yes, I am a coordinator of Eco Direction in SD Platform. It's a non-government organization, and in other words, we are like uniting progressive people. If speak about the some issues, yes, short list about myself. It's like I'm a project in the International European University, chairman of the Students' Trade Union of University, also analytics, and expert at the National Agency for Quality Assurance in Higher Education. But all the time, I'm always like looking for opportunities and trying to get them in time. In 2017 years, I found the SD platform, and it became my opportunity to propose my ideas, thoughts, my points of view to change our country. What is like our aim? In shortly, it's like we see our Ukrainian social-oriented country and try to do what we can to achieve this goal. Also, we like independency creatively, because no way without the fun. We have our own values. In 2019, we had a political campaign. In this campaign, we had find important value of Ukraine that which need our forces and our thoughts, ideas, and our steps. And all it's our river Dnipro. And the situation with the pollutions of the Dnipro River is critical because for many years an incomprehensive stricken substance of a strange color had been drained there. You can see on this slide how looks our Dnipro River. Dnipro River is beginning to be polluted by the discharge of the enterprise in the upper part, and further downstreams from the same water utilities collect already contaminated water, and then we use it for our consumption. And then without proper cleaning, the return water is discharged back into our river. And of course, I want to say that the largest water polluter is Kyiv Water Canal, and near the collector pipes, it's Children Beach, like 500 meters. Also, state eco inspection for a long time was not allowed to check the water, and had some problem questions with Kyiv Water Canal. That is why we decided to start our campaign and to be facilitated the inspections, witnessed the non-admissions, the water inspection, and launched a powerful campaign with name Enough Poisoning the Dnipro River. This is what helped the state eco inspection to check the water, and they found a high content of chemicals and other pollutions in Kyiv Water Canal for damage the state in the amount of more than 16 million hryvnias. We oppose the pollution of the river, and for the fines imposed on Kyiv Water Canal by the state eco inspection to be paid. And we start to speak with a lot of people to create some program and go to collect signature against Kyiv Water Canal like as contaminant. And we want a solution, not a pollution. It was like our slogan for this campaign, and like against Kyiv Water Canal, like the largest polluted like buildings. This case is now pending in court. And after that, we organized a briefing how to protect the Dnipro River, together with some experts, environmental activists, deputies of the Verkhovna Rada, deputies of the Kyiv City Council, some government agency, discuss the emergency situations and draw up an action plan to combat pollution of the Dnipro. It's not only about like information campaign, but also about action. And one slide more, I saw how we ourselves can clean our river. We became one of those organizations that we're not afraid to speak and act. And after that, we became a part of a powerful world organization, Water People Alliance. And the name of our areas of eco direction is Dnipro River Guardians. Also, not only like water help, not only we can help not only water and river Dnipro, but also we start our green way to help this basis and start eco campaign plant gardens because deforestation is another invisible catastrophe in the environment, and after that it results for regions like Vinnytsia, Ternopil, and Lviv involved, 50 for involved activists, 347 trees were planted, 37 information posted by regions in social networks, articles on international experience and eco practice, and 7 responses to requests for public information to some city council. We posted to some website of governments, and then find the answer for our questions. And this is like slide about what I say, what we can do after briefing. We are thinking that in summertime, we can do ourselves cleaning our Dnipro River. And on August in this year, we asked the questions how much plastic of different kinds we can see in rivers, lakes, seas. And because not only discharge from public and private enterprise polluted our reservoirs, but also eco-conscious people and we can turn a blind eye to this and start this eco action. Let's keep the reservoirs of Ukraine clean. Sometimes we look at our river Dnipro through the prism of glasses, but when we throw out it, like dress out, we see how much dirt, plastics, incomprehensible things floats in the river. And we have gathered activists who are not indifferent to the fate of the river. We ourselves became the filter that helped the Dnipro become cleaner. And plastic, alcohol, bottles, children toys, and even stolen items are a short list of found treasures that our activists couch from the waters of the Dnipro. And also, with small but progressive step, we make our river cleaning, and we don't stop. And tomorrow we will join the climate march. We will go to the central streets at the capital to remind the other authorities about climate crisis and climate change and how to stop it. Forest fires, floods, tornadoes, this is the consequences of the climate crisis, climate changes. It can still be slowed down if we start action right now. So tomorrow we go with our team to this march. And also on 2nd of October, we join the march for Kyiv with our eco-themed Dnipro River Guardians. So we don't stop all the time. And first of all, I want to say that find yourself. Wish every guys who knowing about eco direction and want to be in ecology, find yourself. I'm fine and want to fight for justice and ecology in our country. And also we opened a new project, opened new partnership for new eco activists. So join us, and if you have some questions, I am ready to answer for it, and also send my link to this chat. Be in touch every time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katerina.
Actually,
Arthur, did you want to ask something?
Yeah, just maybe one quick question, because you referred to the river, the Kyiv River, Dnipro River, I mean. And because we have similar problems with this river algae, like the bacteria seaweed, which is happening not only to the Dnipro, but also to Seversky Donetsk, which is coming from like also Svetogirsk and other regions. So I wanted to ask whether you have follow-up in Kyiv on maybe some kind of project. What are the developments? How to improve the situation, and because I'm sure this situation, and if there were already a perfect like example or a case in one city with the river with the same purpose, it can be applied to other cities. So are there any developments as for the Dnipro first, maybe?
Yes, I can answer that. We forces about this money that Kyiv needs to pay for the state. And if this money will be paid, we say that this money needs to be like a filter, to build filter near the collectors, these pipes. So if we reconstruct this filter, it's gonna be find the solutions to not pollution this Dnipro River. Also, we posted some grants to the United States, because we need some money for propose how we can filter and cleaning our Dnipro now, because only with kayaks it's only for plastic, but about chemicals and other items in our Dnipro River needs to some money, and it's a lot of money. So first of all, we see and looking for money for like grants to cleaning our Dnipro River, and the second one, we all the time say the deputies and the Kyiv City Council and Verkhovna Rada that we need this money that Kyiv needs to pay, because we need the filter of collectors' pipes.
Okay, I see the proper allocation of funds. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any other questions, curiosities? I think the presentation was quite interesting and quite informative, even, I would say. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, I would like to admit that this is the issue not only with the Dnipro River, right, but like with a lot of also other rivers. I mean, we do pay attention perhaps to Dnipro, that like this is the main water source of Ukraine, I would say. But when it comes to the other rivers, right, which are a bit less in terms of the size, but still like they are, how shall I put it? They create the water balance of the western parts of Ukraine, for instance, or the eastern part. There is still a space and capacity to go for and to raise, to adapt these questions, to argue with the local authorities, on the regional, on the national levels. And yes, in this way, hopefully we'll be able to achieve some efficient and useful results. On that occasion, I will pass the floor to Uliana, who is the deputy of the director of the Let's Do It Ukraine movement. And yeah, she is, I assume she will present herself pretty well, so I don't need to talk a lot about herself and about her daily routine and activities. So Uliana, floor is yours.
Thank you so much for invitation. I'm really grateful to be a speaker in this huge meeting, and I would like to share with you about activities of Let's Do It Ukraine, not only Let's Do It Ukraine, but Let's Do It World as well. Let's Do It World is a huge international organization which consists from 186 countries, and there are more than 50 million people around the world who participate in World Cleanup Day every year. So we already have done World Cleanup Day this year. It was on 18th of September. So it seems like we don't have still full results and complete information about how many people have participated this year, because we still gathering the information. In Ukraine, previous results, it was 170,000 people who participate in World Cleanup Day in all over Ukraine. There are like 2,000 locations in all over Ukraine, in different countries, in different cities and villages. And the youngest participant was 8 months child, and the oldest one was 87 years old in Ukraine. So we gather people together in one day, and in all over the world, in 118 countries, people gather together and they clean their places, forests, seashores, and so on. And we do this huge movement, huge action for remind people, for remind citizens that it's so necessary to keep clean our planet and to be eco-responsible toward our planet and reduce the waste which we produce, because all products, all goods which we buy once become as waste. So this waste like surrounds us everywhere, always. And it's very important to reduce waste which we produce, recycle it, and route and reuse, because there are one scientist was say that if we don't reduce the waste which we produce to before 2050s, we wouldn't have any space on our planet to keep all this waste which we have right now, and it's really, really sad. So I would like to tell you a little bit about Let's Do It World in general, and in Ukraine it's already have been existing since since 2015, and the biggest numbers of people on World Cleanup Day, it was in 2017. It was 1 million people in Ukraine. Can you imagine? So, of course, because of quarantine of these COVID issues, we have less participants right now because we can't gather in big groups and so on. And we have created one action or more, the digital cleanup. And it's also international action, and digital cleanup, it means that there is a day that we remind everyone to clean their gadgets, laptops, iClouds, emails, and so on from the unnecessary information, from the extra information, extra medias and photos, because it's also impact and influence on the environment. Do you know, for example, if you keep one letter on your in your email with attachment which is like 1 megabyte, during year it takes energy like 10 hours of working microwave. So it's only one letter in your email. How many spams, duplicate and different unnecessary extra informations and letters do we do we have on our laptops and smartphones? So digital cleanup day, it's a very important day because all information which consist and saves on different servers, it produced a lot of CO2. So it's also like a huge impact on climate change, because if we have less information and have less services, we wouldn't use so many energy to keep alive these services, and we wouldn't produce CO2. So in this way, we highly recommend to each of you, like, please be aware and be conscious. Just 10 minutes a day, please clean your gadgets, your iClouds, different emails from waste, from digital waste, and you will save the planet. And it's huge impact and a huge step to save the nature. And for example, in Ukraine, we have 24 coordinators, so 24 teams in each regional who coordinate the World Cleanup Day, the Digital Cleanup Day, and you also can join this movement, and you can join this movement in every country where you are, because Let's Do It World, it's a huge international movement which consists and unite of 180 countries, and you can be coordinator, you can join just for once, you can be just a cleaner, like day by day by yourself, but when you put your results of cleaning on your networks, on the net, webnet, you can use hashtag World Cleanup Day, the Digital Cleanup Day, and see it, bag it. You can see on my t-shirt, "Побачив, прибери" in Ukraine, which means see it, bag it. So if you see some waste, you can easily take it and throw to the bin, and don't leave waste after yourself, and try to keep place better than it was before you come. And I think that we as a human beings, we are children of the planet, of the earth, and we as a kids, we have to care about our mother. So if we would be responsible and eco-conscious towards our mother, we would save it as much as possible. So in this way, I'm like highly recommend you, please keep clean the places where you are, and don't waste time, don't produce extra waste, and try to less it. And you can find interesting information about results of World Cleanup Day on Let's Do It world.org, or Let's Do It Ukraine.org, and you can see news and different actions in different regions, and you can join. We ask you join us, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and you will always aware about what's going on and what we are doing and how you can help us and how you can be useful and productive in your society, how you can make some impact on your community.
Many thanks.
It's like a very short brief.
No, yeah, I just wanted to thank you, because since the last time you told me about this email stuff, it was like, I don't know, 3 years ago or something, I regularly delete spam and etc. I didn't know that before you told me, so many thanks.
So also we have some special website which called Digital Cleanup Day. You can go to this site and you can see different facts about this stuff, and I try to open it. There are a lot of facts and really scientific researches how huge digital impact on their climate change, and you can check and you can share how we can change the world by ourselves. We can start from ourselves, and we have to share with our friends, with our relatives, parents, and we have to be as a role model to our followers and so on. People sometimes just don't know how to react, how to act, and how is right. But when you share, when you explain them what is right, what is not, and how huge their contribution is, people can change in one day. So just be the change you want to see in the world.
Thank you. That was Michael Jackson, or?
No.
I just...
Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, many thanks, Uliana. So yeah, guys, and last but not least, Ludovica is our last speaker for today, and yeah, hope you are well. You are joining from a very nice apartment, as far as I see. It's
the main studio. I mean, I try to put the logo here, but cool. It is everywhere, like on my shirt too. Yes.
That's cool. So please, the floor is yours, and yeah, tell me when you need to open.
Yeah, I will like say, I will show you a video, and I give you the time to put it. So, hello everyone, and thank you so much for having me. First of all, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm also very happy that we are talking about climate change, all these issues in this week, which is so important for a lot of activists and teenagers. Since yesterday, in many cities of the world, I know in Ukraine it will be this weekend, but yesterday, for example, we were as a radio in Piacenza, which is a city in the north of Italy, demonstrating and striking for future. And so my name is Ludovica, I'm from Italy, and I'm the director of Radioimmaginaria. Radioimmaginaria is basically a web radio made by teenagers from 11 to 17 years old. It was born in Italy, and the headquarters are based in Italy. I am now in Castelguelfo, which is a tiny village near Bologna. Maybe the name sound, it is not Milan or Rome, but it's quite a famous city in Italy. And but it's spread to all over Europe. So it is now the first network made by teenagers of that age, 11, 17, in all Europe. But before explaining you better what it is, if Artur is ready with the first video, I will show you that before.
Just to make sure which one is the first video.
It was called Future. So
okay, okay.
I think there is no sound, Artur.
Okay, I couldn't hear the audio, but don't worry, because most of it was music, and also the last part, it was a girl speaking. The two girls, the first ones, they were speaking in French, the other one in English, and the last one in Italian. And she was saying, despite I know I have to tidy my room because it's messy, this is the right moment to listen to Radioimmaginaria. So basically, it maybe gave you an idea of what we do. But Radioimmaginaria, as I said, is a web radio. And it was born in 2012 in this very little village, because I don't know if in your countries it's the same, but there is like a gap. Like local administrations organize a lot of activities and projects for children, very, very young children, and for students going to university, but sometimes it is really difficult to catch the age 11, 17, because it's complicated, because they are teenagers, so they change their mind. It's not really easy to do things for them. And in this tiny village called Castelguelfo, when you are between these two ages, you can, play, football if you are a boy, or volleyball if you are a girl, and that's it. So the idea was to give young people a possibility to do something different. And in 2012, it wasn't as fashionable as now to do podcasts or web radio. And also another thing that in Italy we feel a lot, but now it's a little bit changing, is that young people, they are not heard. They say their opinions, but it's difficult to communicate to who can decipher them. For the aim was to give a space to them, a media where adults, where their parents, their teachers can say, you can talk about comics because it's not interesting. They could talk about whatever they want. They can choose the music. They can say they have a friend who has a band, and give them the possibilities to to share their music. And so it was born with this aim: give young people a possibility to be heard and to say whatever they want. And as you may imagine, there are a lot of antennas. We call them, they are groups of young people doing radio in Italy. So there are like 40 antennas all over Italy, from north to south. But there are also young people broadcasting from France, from Malta, from the UK, from a lot of other European cities. And the fact is, having the chance to talk to your peers, to other teenagers, one in front of the other. Well, with the pandemic, of course, we had to move all the activities online, but it wasn't so bad, because they had the possibility to broadcast with people from different part of the world, since we were all in our rooms. But the fact is, it is an activity that made them speak the one with the other. It's inclusive. So we don't care, your religion, if you're rich, if you're poor, where are you from, you can join just sending an email. And so the fact is, it gives an opportunity to express themselves. And Radioimmaginaria is also a not-for-profit organization, and the aim is to teach young people how to do journalism with their own language. We don't do like lessons on how you have to talk in front of a microphone as you are a professional journalist. They understand how to do that, but using their language, their words, because what Radioimmaginaria wants to do is we call it cultural mediation. So for example, you're a teacher, you bring your class to a very important conference on climate. The scientist who is talking is really good and he says the right things, but maybe he or she tells that information in a very difficult language. So you are a teenager, you are 15, you don't understand, and you are not interested. So you pick up your phone and start going on Instagram. So the aim of Radioimmaginaria is to say, okay, what are you talking about? Okay, now I understand you. This is the way I would understand it. And sometimes we propose to institutions or events focusing on different issues, just to, we are on the stage and we try to say things in the way young people will understand. Focusing on the climate issues, when in 2019 started all the Fridays for Future movement, and we started to read about Greta. As you may imagine, a lot of young people started to get interested in it. So I remember it was the 15th of March of that year, and we decided to be like an official radio for the Fridays for Future movement. So we took some of our stations. We have some stations who can move and broadcast live while moving. We have one which is a huge bicycle, for example. So we spent all day. It was like 10 hours in the city in the north of Italy, where a Fridays for Future movement was demonstrating. We narrated the demonstration in the city, and then we went on connecting with young activists all over the world, because the aim was to express what was going on all over the planet and what activists were doing. So, and in 2019, I thought, if I remember well, there was 5 global strikes. So it was four global strikes, and we did the same thing for 4 times. And in the summer, when in Italy, but in most countries, students don't have school, we tried to imagine what we could do to go seeing what really climate, crisis is. So we decided, I remember we were around the table with some of them, and we said, okay, we can go by bicycle to Sweden because we want to meet Greta. But it was quite impossible and maybe too much. So we said, okay, let's go by train. But thinking about it, well, it was easy, everyone could do that. And we remembered we have in our garage a strange, it's typical in Italy. It is called Ape Piaggio. It is a very nice but old vintage car. And we bought it in Sicily some years ago because we wanted to, as I said, a station who could, move. And we did it as an example of circular economy, because it was about to be, to be thrown away because it was very old. But we took it, we make it new, we create in it a radio station. So we decided to go from Italy to Sweden to meet Greta and to see where the Fridays for Future movement was born, directly in Stockholm. So it took us 26 days in summer. We were with 14 teenagers. I was part of the journey. It wasn't easy, but the aim was to go across all Europe. I remember we crossed France, we crossed Belgium, we took a ferry to go to the UK, and it was very, organized in a very sustainable way. So on the Ape Piaggio, we had some trees we wanted to plant in Sweden to compensate the little emissions we had. We also slept in campings because it was easier, and we wanted to live in contact with nature. And so for those 26 days, we tried to interview young people all over Europe to try to understand in person what meant to young people to immediately realize they were running out of future because of the enormous problem we were starting to be conscious of. And it was fun, even though I said it was quite hard. And Greta, few days after we started the trip, communicate on her social medias she was going to have a very important trip on a boat. So it was like, oh my God, we organized all of this, and it was really difficult to contact her because she was already a superstar. But a group of other teenagers from Radioimmaginaria were going in those same days to an important meeting in Switzerland. It was called Smile for Future, and they had the chance to meet her. They told her, look, we have a group of speakers who are going to your house, and we are very sorry you won't be there. So she basically said she was happy. We were doing this adventure. She was also sorry because she wouldn't have been there, but she organized a meeting with her colleagues, let's call them, of Fridays for Future Stockholm. So when we got there, we demonstrated. It was a Friday. It was a year after the first Fridays for Future movement and Fridays. And so, yes, we ended this trip broadcasting with these people. And for me, well, I was a little much younger. I'm not a teenager anymore, but for the young people who were with me, it was really important, an experience where they knew how to do a radio and broadcasting and communication live in also like a difficult situation, but also they understood a lot of useful things. I think there is a video of this, but I don't know if this could be nice to hear something, but if you can't, no problem. Just to give you an idea.
Let me try if that is the video, because I believe this should work now.
Yeah.
Do you hear the sound? Did you hear the sound?
No.
Oh,
No.
Oh, damn it. I don't know.
That is the EaP Piaggio, I told you. And it is really, really slow. I mean, it's 40 kilometers per hour maximum. So it was a really slow journey. These are the teenagers who took part. They were all between 11. These younger are between 11 and 13. And there is also a documentary about the experience, because we took a really young video maker who realized it. We also had an accident with our caravan, which wasn't nice, but we made it. And these are some people we interviewed. Here we were in London, in front of the BBC. Here we are in Brussels. And this is a very important politician who is is very, focused on climate. I don't remember his title. I just remember the name was Arthur Runge-Metzger. He was German. Here we are in Holland, pushing the EaP Piaggio because it was broken. Here we were fixing it. We were here in Denmark. And finally, landing in Sweden. Finally got there. We went to Stockholm University to talk about with some professors who deal with climate crisis and teach, subjects about that. Here with Greta. the Fridays from Stockholm. And we were here in the Italian embassy, where we finally planted the trees we brought. And then we came back, put it on a track because it was easier to come back. And I think, yes, now there is the list of the cities we crossed. Just to give you an idea, and if you want, I can send you the link, or Artur, maybe I can send you the links, but just to give you an idea of what was it. And so, just to sum it up, I think this kind of experiences could be a good way for young people all over the world to cooperate, because you have an aim, which is to be a speaker. In Radioimmaginaria, you can do what you want. You can be a speaker, so a radio host, you can talk to the microphone, but you can also focus on the website, writing articles, doing research about what you care about. You can decide to be a director of the technical part, if you don't like to speak, for example, because some of them are very shy, or maybe we also have people with physical difficulties, and it's really open to everyone. And if you know someone in Ukraine who wants to join, it's very easy, because young people can join just by sending an email to radioimmaginaria.gmail. So sorry, I will send you maybe all the links, but also the website is radioimmaginaria.it or .com, as you prefer. And so what we are doing now is trying to make young people back in presence, because it was so hard for them, the lockdown and all that came last year. And this kind of experiences help them to stay connected, not to lose the idea of reality. Although I think all over the world, but in Italy, the data said that for teenagers, it was devastating. Lots of them felt bad, had to go to psychologists. In general, they felt very bad. And I don't know, I hope you understood everything, because it's not really easy to explain it. It is better to see it as Artur saw in Malta, where we met. And if you want to know more, you can go on our website. And if you know some teenagers, also your countries, who maybe can be interested, it's free. They can join, they can do radio, and we will be very happy about that. So thank you so much.
Many thanks, Ludovica. This is what I call a perfect timing. And